Good evening, everyone. Hope we're doing well. I'm back from overseas, so I'm so glad to be back on the YouTube recordings as usual. I know the last recording I did was for the preview for the Richmond game because I know I'd advised in that recording I'll be away, so I wouldn't have access to the internet. But I'm glad to be back, and I'm doing the recording for the review of the St Kilda versus Hawthorn game. Okay, before I go further into that, I'd just like to introduce you to my tutorial school. As you can see in the logo on the top right with the sort of a circular object, it's called the Roki School of Excellence. It's founded by my wife and I. It's an academic tutoring school that provides group and individual classes for years 5 to 12 mathematics across all year levels, as well as in Western drums, South Indian classical drums, and octopad, which is an electronic percussion instrument. Okay, so enrollments are open throughout the year. So if you have a child or a loved one or any friends or family who you know might be interested, please do ask them to get in touch with us. We'll be more than happy to assist. Okay, my wife looks after the enrollment and admin side of school, whilst I look after the teaching syllabus and the fees side of school. Okay, so please jump on board if you're interested. Okay, on to review last night's game. St Kilda versus Hawthorn at Marvel Stadium. One of the most putrid football performances I've seen by the Saints in a while. With the list they've got, yes, they're not expected to win every game. But for goodness sake, you were held goalless, okay, in the first half since 39 years. This is St Kilda's first goalless half since 1987. And first time under Ross Lyon. That is shocking. Absolutely shocking. Even some Hawks supporters and Hawks players found that interesting too. Yes, it's good for them. But geez, that goes to show how they were expecting St Kilda to kick a few goals. But they didn't. Absolutely shocking. Now, there were comments about the dampness of the ground and stuff, but I'm not going to get into all that. Because if I did, then I'm making excuses. A team like Hawthorn handled that better. How? They don't play at Marvel Stadium often. They do not play there as often as the Saints do. But yet, they made it sound like their fortress last night. And St Kilda were of no match. And it was not because of forget about skill errors, lacklustre display. The attitude was diabolical. Now, look, you could look at it one of two ways. Now, you could think that, they played Fremantle last week, and it was a short turnaround. I was like, they got to get back on the flight. They have only till Thursday to prepare. Or B, they really didn't show up. I mean, if you're such a good side, you got to be able to adjust to your fixture. I'm not saying you have to win the game, but please, for goodness sake, be competitive. Stop playing football from the third quarter onwards. You need to be playing football from the first quarter. And the interesting part is, St Kilda are one of the best first quarter teams in the competition, believe it or not. But yesterday, Hawthorn showed them that, hey, you're not as good as you think you are with your first quarters always. And guess what? They did exactly that. They kicked the first 3 goals. Of course, it's going to be Jack Gunston, then Marbia Cho. Second quarter, Gunston, Ginnivan. Then, you had the other forwards like Mitch Lewis. It just kept growing and growing. And guess what? The boys had no answer whatsoever. How embarrassing is that, isn't it? Okay? So, just wanted to take you through the scores yesterday, a breakdown. So, if we take a minute to read here, okay? Final scores, Hawthorn, 18-11, 119, defeating St Kilda, okay? 9-13, 67, okay? Now, it was all over by halftime, okay? I'm going to be very direct about this. It was all over by halftime, no second thoughts. But then, there was a bit of spark by the Saints. Ross the Boss would have given them a good bake at halftime, and they lifted. But was it enough? Absolutely not. But at least it was not going to head towards a 100-point defeat. But the interesting part is Hawthorn won the half. They won it by 2 points. So it didn't really matter. But then, if only the Saints turned up the notch again in the first or second quarter, who knows. But would have, should have, could have, but they didn't. Okay? Jack Silvani, take a bow, my friend. Your first season as a Sainter. You're a full-time defender. You're the Josh Battle replacement. You've come up and you've bobbed 3 goals against a good defensive side. Even Josh Battle hasn't kicked 3 goals like this against formidable opponents. A couple of things this tells about Jack Silvani. He has adjusted, and most importantly, it shows how timid our forward line's going. Yes, we have no Max King. Yes, we have no Jack Higgins. Yes, we have no Mitch Owens. But, goodness me, what stopped Cooper Sharman from getting on 1 goal? What stopped Filippo from, kicking 2 goals when he had 2 good chances? What stopped Caminiti? We had the players to try and hit the scoreboard. They didn't do it. They absolutely didn't do it. It was an absolute putrid display that words fail me, to be very honest. Okay? Now, I'm just going to go through my key review points here that I thought of the game. You're each entitled to comment on your own and have your own thoughts. Okay? There's no, right or wrong. Okay? So if you look here, as I said, our first goalless half since 1987 and first time under Ross Lyon. Even when Ross coached us, the first time we never had a goalless half, even in losing games. That is shocking. For a side who's known to start so beautifully in games, regardless of the end result. We couldn't even hit the scoreboard with at least 1 goal. And this is against a Hawthorn team who didn't even have Tom Barras. Imagine if he played. That's all I'll say. Number 2, our skill errors and lack of intent was very evident in the first half. Very, very evident, guys. It was very obvious, dropping simple, uncontested marks, not even able to receive the ball properly from handballs, fumbling, not picking up the ball cleanly, playing it into the hands of the Hawks players. Of course they were going to swoop on that. That's bread and butter for Hawthorn. So that was the story of the night. It just kept getting worse, guys. Number 3, as I said before, Silvani was undoubtedly the saint of the round. He scoring 3 goals says a lot about our forwards. I mean, this is the first time he's playing as a forward player in our club. And he's kicked 3 goals against a very good team. Where are you, Cooper Sharman? Where are you, Caminiti? Where are you, Filippo? Where were you, Liam Henry? Yes, you didn't have Jack Higgins and Liam Ryan to support you. You couldn't hit the scoreboard, not even 1 goal. This says a lot about the team, guys. There's lots of alarm bells ringing. Number 4, questions were raised about the dampness of the ground, but how did Hawthorn handle the conditions better? Yeah, we're going to have different conditions, guys, but the better teams handled it better. And Hawthorn didn't play their perfect game last night. They had a chance to win by 100, but they handled the conditions and their game plan better. That's what separated the 2 sides. Number 5, yep, you're going to speak my mind. They were very vulnerable without Naz, Liam Ryan, Higgins and Owens. The run and gut that Naz provides up and down the ground was sorely missed. Liam Ryan and Higgins have been our warrior small forwards. They are literally the leaders of that forward line that pull the forward together and ensure we have a very good score on the scoreboard to win the game. Mitch Owens, he's a beast. He contests in pack marks. He grabs the ball, goes to ground, makes a contest. That was missed. Very vulnerable. Is that an excuse? Absolutely not. But it goes to show St Kilda are not in a position to win games without some of these blokes just yet. They're trying to get there. How long is a piece of string? I'd hope that's soon. But yeah, that's all I'll say. And number 6, we have a huge month coming up. We got Sydney next week against SCG. Gee, that assignment doesn't get easier. Then we got some winnable games against teams around and below us. We got GWS at Marvel, whom we beat earlier this year. Then we got the Bulldogs, who have been really up and down. So we got to pinch one of those at least. And after that, we have more winnable games. So it's not as doom and gloom as it looks, although last night may have shown otherwise. But really, we've got to get our game up and running, okay? We are not as a goalless half team. We never were. And to do that after 39 years with a stronger list. Mind you, we didn't have these 4 players last year and the year before, but we never had a goalless first half. Yeah? Why are we having goalless? Yeah, Hawthorn played well, but we've never had goalless against Hawthorn, isn't it? So there's a lot of questions to be answered, and I really, really hope that they lift their game in training this week. They're going to have a massive training session. They have to make some tough selection calls. And on another note, I think we got some good news. We might have Liam Ryan, Higo, Mitch Owens, and who else? One more player back by next week, and Naz by next round. So we expect our list to be stronger next week, next few weeks. Max King to come back, Higgins to come back, Dougal Howard to come back. we missed his height a little bit yesterday up forward, you know, the extra bit of height. So it will get a bit cleaner, our injury list. Unlucky about Sam Flanders. Been a very good pickup, but it opens the door for Hugh Bochel and Garcia to step in that inside midfield grunt. And you know, some of these midfielders have lifted very well. So really, I really hope they have a good week and an honest catch up at training and really take some serious learnings from yesterday. Because if they don't, geez, I'll feel for Ross Lyon, because it's not entirely his fault. The players really have to pull their finger and show what the red, white and black jumper means to their supporters, because we love those colours. I really hope they love the colours as much as we do, and I'd like to think they do. Okay, so I'll leave it there, guys. A bit of a brief review. Comment your thoughts. Please hit the subscribe channel. The more subscribers, the better. My next video will be about previewing the Sydney Swans game sometime this week. So till then, take care, stay safe, and enjoy your weekend. And go Saints. See you guys.